Good morning, ex-Winterview, back again with another brief dialogue with his dear friend Annastacey. Once again, driving to work early in the morning, steam or mist perhaps rising off the road after a rainy night. Quite beautiful. Feeling pretty good. Already had my coffee, so I'm thinking a little bit more clearly, I think. This morning's brief dialogue is a revisiting of subject matter around belief systems and positions. I think I've talked about this before. I can't remember in which context. It crosses over many subject matters, but always a hot topic for the seeker, so never hurts to revisit said topic. Beliefs. Try and explain this in a real basic way. A belief is a theory that you, or that the mind, I should say, adopts to explain something. Usually, not all the time, but usually the explanation is to reduce anxiety or to explain something mysterious to itself, something that is incomprehensible. Once the belief is fixed, you might say, then it can be used as a point of reference to classify and sort sensory experience. Now that's all a bit scientifically waffly. Let's have a closer look at that in real life. I'd broadly, more or less, like to use survival models or models of adaptation to environment to explain stuff, bearing in mind that these narratives, you could say, are just that, narratives. And as I explain beliefs, I'm also aware at the same time that this explanation could in fact become yet another belief that you have. But beliefs seem to be important because they tend to stress and confuse thinking, and often lead to distress or panic or tangential explorations, needlessly perhaps. So to even understand beliefs in a more generalized way can help bring a smidge, that's scientific for a little tiny bit, of relief, a smidge of relief to the seeking energy. So, let us imagine the forest creature, Homo forest creaturus, is thousands and thousands of years ago, walking through the tall savanna grasslands of some primordial landscape. This world is fraught with peril and danger around every bend in the path. So this particular forest creature needs to be particularly vigilant against danger. Otherwise it's game over, lights out. And so, a very clever technique to stay alive, to be vigilant, is to presume that an event that is novel or unusual is dangerous until proven otherwise. Why would this be a good strategy? Because basically I'd rather have a crap ton, that's also technical scientific jargon for a lot, a crap ton of false positives. False positives, meaning I presume something is dangerous and it turns out to be okay. I'd rather live like that than to ignore signals from the environment, presuming they're all fine and dandy, and get it wrong, be eaten by a tiger or other creature. So, therefore, in my highest interest of just pure survival, I will naturally presume that every signal I receive from the environment is threatening somewhere, until I know it's not. But of course, I would become a nervous wreck that if every little signal was detected and presumed dangerous, I'd become a nervous wreck. So being intelligent, being a highly intelligent creature, did you notice that I included myself there? Very clever. That what I'll do is, if possible, if certain signals repeat from the environment, start to repeat, and I know that the signal is benign, then I will learn to be less cautious / upset / vigilant when I detect that signal. So here I am walking along the grasslands, the savannas, happily one day, and there's a rustling sound in the bush. Immediately I tense my muscles, tighten my grip on my spear, and ready myself for what could be a dangerous attack by a tiger. But in a couple of seconds or 20 seconds, turns out to be a chicken scratching around. I see the chicken scratching around. I go, okay, chicken scratching around, not a tiger. So I file that away. What do I do with it? This is, say it's a first time event. I create a belief, or at least I create the outline, cognitive outline we'll call it, for a belief that could form very quickly. So I'm walking further, more scratching in the grass, thinking now, probably a chicken, not sure though. There's another chicken, confirmed chicken. Locking that sensory stimulus, that sensory profile, you might say, into my memory bank. Chicken. That sound is a chicken. And so this goes on a couple more times, and then bam, we have a belief. And what is a belief? It is a tool, no, that's the wrong word, a cognitive framework, or a core cognitive framework that explains a particular phenomenon, explains an experience somehow. Chicken, that sound is a chicken. I believe that's a chicken. Now, I've got a lot of tests that have proved that sound is usually a chicken. So when I hear it next time, I'm not as alarmed. It's a chicken. My belief system kicks in. That sound is a chicken. And then something different happens. I hear a louder rustling sound, like a more bass tones, perhaps more. It's heavier in some way, and with an accompanying growl, like a deep growl. Now this is novel again. This is not the belief systems that I've already got. This is a different signal from the environment. So I'm back on guard. What is this? This does not fit my beliefs necessarily, unless it's a effing great chicken. That's more scientific jargon right there. So now I'm nervous again. I'm back to square one. So what we've noticed now is signal from the environment not matching belief system, or not being able to be processed by the belief system, back to alarm state, or back to survival mode, back to possible danger. And then it does turn out, in this particular case, to be a tiger or a bear or something dangerous. So in this particular event, I crouch down, keep myself hidden, and wait about half an hour until the bear foraging around in the grass gets bored, wanders off. Now I have a new cognitive framework about sound, tone of sound, heaviness of sound, etc. And let's say this happens again. In half an hour, another bear turns up, same or similar tones from the environment, similar signal. So that signal becomes a belief about what that sound represents. It's a bear. And also, because I'm clever and I abstractly think about stuff, I can categorize these sounds falling under the broader category of grass rustling. That's my file in my cognitive filing cabinet. Grass rustling. So now I have this whole file being opened up of different sounds of grass movement. And if I lived in the savanna plains long enough, this would be a pretty full and thick file. I know what every sound probably means with some degree of certainty. So now I feel, what do I feel? Secure, safe. I feel like I know stuff. Okay, so we got the formations of a belief. Now the other thing that we haven't talked about yet, which we're moving on to, is the opposite, or the shadow of a belief. Now the first example of the chicken, going back to that example, what we notice about the word belief straight off the bat, this is my own little thing, I guess you might say, is the word belief to me is very, or perilously close to the words, two words, be life. Be life. What a belief is, therefore, is in some way what I want life to be, or what I declare life to be. Life is this. This is be life. This is what life is. Sounds okay so far. Nothing sounds a bit weird or esoteric or unusual or abstract, bizarre yet. I'm declaring what life is. So when I hear the sound of the rustling that my brain goes chicken, I'm also declaring that's what exists. That is what is in existence. My belief system is that is a chicken rustling around in the grass. But also the shadow of that is that everything else is not a chicken. So that sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Everything else is unchicken. What I'm saying is I have to have a point of reference. I have to know what not chicken is to know what chicken is, if that makes sense. So I've suddenly created a duality of chicken and not chicken, or chicken sounds and not chicken sounds. See how that works straight off the bat? That's an important part of the belief structure, shadow side, to create the sense of solidity and form of the belief. I need to know what it's not to say what it is. In order to say what it is, I need to know everything else, or I need to declare that everything else is not. So there we have back to the structure of mind, the way the mind works. The broader category, let's not forget, is what did I say earlier? Grass sounds is the broader category. Broader category still survival information. Survival information. Which again, don't forget the duality, everything else not survival information. Or, here's an interesting one, everything else not that important. Everything else not that important. Ever found yourself in a conversation, someone's talking about something passionately, and you find yourself not caring? Same principle in action. They haven't triggered the survival, you haven't been able to codify that information in your survival file. In other words, it's not important to your survival. What you're telling me, I do not need to know. It is therefore boring. It is not important. I'm yawning. Mentally maybe, because I'm trying to be polite. So back to the grassland savannah. So here I am. I'm saying, be life. Be life. See where this is heading? Every belief that I lock in to help with my survival, to help with my way of being in the world, I'm also declaring this is what life is, as far as I'm concerned. This is what life is. Now in the jumping ahead a little bit, actually I won't jump ahead yet, I'm going to move on to something slightly different for a second. This structure of mind, the declaration of what life is, and the consequent shadow of everything else that isn't, are called positions. So beliefs and positions are sort of similar, they're two sides of the same coin. I'm saying this is how life works, type of thing. Now, when I defend my beliefs, I don't know why I would defend a belief, but let's say I'm walking through the woods with a friend now, because I'm such a nice person, I actually have a friend. And they hear the same, we both hear the same sound, and I say, oh, don't worry, it's just a chicken. And they say, no, it's that's not a chicken, that's a rabbit. And I'm pretty experienced, I've been living in this grassland for a long time, and I'm pretty sure that that's a chicken. So I defend my belief. I say, no, my little friend, that is not a rabbit, that is a chicken. And an argument ensues. The argument is we're arguing over what life is, and the presence or the tendency to argue or defend, etc., is what I would call ego. Now, why is it important to defend a belief? Because that belief that's survival information that needs to be right. I need to be right on with that type of information for my survival. So it's not a trivial argument in some ways. It's sort of important. I need to trust myself. I need to be able to trust that my judgment and discernment on matters chicken, matters rabbit, is correct. So I will argue that point. I will defend my belief. See where this is all heading? How it all builds up, a big crescendo. Now that argument might be what you'd call a trivial argument between two friends, a good-natured jousting match between two compadres. But what if we move to the more interpersonal realm now? We're pretty good at the basic survival stuff, chickens in the grass, tigers and bears, lions, oh my. But what about the more social sort of stuff? This is complex territory now for the mind. It's not great at it, to be fair. It's not totally awesome at social stuff. So let's go with social survival. I'm not even going to go down the road of is there a self, is there a me, etc. That's too big a topic right now for this. Social survival is important for the species in that we are a social species, I would say. So I need to know signal detection for social stuff, cues from my peers. Do they like me? Do they not like me? Have I upset them? And so forth. Let's say we're at a party, primitive party, back in the grassland savannas in my tent, drinking some kind of local brew, all a bit drunk, and I say I make an inappropriate comment about my neighbour's wife's breasts, let's say. And everyone just stops and stares, shocked. I've offended the village. Whoops. I better file that information away. That is good survival information. This village does not have a sense of humour about boob jokes. Okay, good information. I'm intelligent, filing it away. Social survival. Better. Now, I also know too now that this is life. This is be life. When I do this, this happens. Under the broader category of insults or social mores or cultural customs, etc. So I have a big file. After living in this tribe for a while, I have a big file about what flies and what does not fly. Now, arguments will ensue again when on matters social, not because it's useless, because I need to know this information for my survival. You'll find that you don't bother arguing with people. There's no ego, we'll say, ego being the defense of a belief. There's no ego on something that's trivial, you'll find. You tend not to care, right? If you are caring about trivial points with friends and arguing all the time, you'll probably find there's a sort of meta belief, another belief going on, that you always have to be right, or your knowledge is superior, or something like that. You'll probably find that's what's going on, aside from the point that you're arguing. Someone said to me, "Do you know that cloud up there? I think that's a cumulus cloud." And let's suppose I didn't really care, had no opinion on cumulus or not cumulus clouds. And perhaps I thought, I don't think it is a cumulus, but you know what, it's so trivial, I can't be bothered getting into it with this person. I'll just nod and go, yeah, okay. No ego there. But why might I defend the belief is if that is in some way important to me, or I feel it's important to defend. And there's that presence of ego. So what ego is, or appears to be, it appears to be a defense mechanism of self. And I haven't gone into all the stuff around the self, but when you start forming beliefs about me and I, and this is who I am, and this is the type of person I am. I'm a nice person, I'm a friendly person, I'm a good person. All those wonderful beliefs, be lifes, let's not forget, be life, declaring that which you are. You have to defend these beliefs, otherwise people are literally destroying you with a criticism or a suggestion that you're not that, you're not nice, you're not helpful, etc. So suddenly you get all these thoughts. I've got to defend myself, I've got to defend this, and get into an argument. And that's what people commonly call ego. Ego came into play right there. But what it is, it's not so much that ego is the self, it's a tool of the imagined self to defend beliefs about the imagined self. That is ego right there. So it's a pernicious, tenacious energy of defense. It comes up, I'm a nice person. No, you're not. You were selfish. I once wanted some money the other day. You didn't lend it to me. Oh, I didn't lend it to you because you never paid me back. And on and on and on. Defend. And what am I defending? Not so much the self, although I am trying to defend the self. What I'm defending is my image of myself right there. Because I need you to think or believe, and I need to believe, that I'm a nice person. If I know I'm not a nice person, I'm selfish. I know I'm selfish. Yeah, I'm totally selfish. I know that. It'd be unlikely that you'll get me vigorously defending anything. I'll just be like, yep, I am. And that's what is meant often in spiritual circles about surrendering positions or surrendering beliefs. You just literally agree. You just say, yep, that is a fact. That's what I'm like. And so now there's no ego defensiveness, no need for ego defense. You see? Isn't that interesting? See how it all ties in? And so, when you have no belief about it, no be life, not declaring this is what life is, it all becomes a bit smoother. Sure, I'm selfish. I have no beliefs about that. Or even more flexible, even less rigid. Maybe I'm selfish. I'm not sure. Or maybe I can be selfish sometimes and generous at other times. I don't know. So the annihilation of beliefs is that position of I don't know. I actually don't know. Which goes all the way back to the beginning of the chicken in the bush. If we didn't know what it was, it'd be I don't know. Nothing to defend. Nothing to defend. Anyway, I'm at work. Gotta stop. I feel like there's more to say on this. Maybe that's for another brief dialogue. Once again, thank you for listening, and as usual, your comments are very welcome.